had a crazy month of July, haven't we? It's been stacked. We've had fight cards on every week. We've had big shows on every week. And it just seems like July was just the month that boxing, if we keep every month like this, boxing will be in a phenomenal place. It's already in a very, very good place, a very good place. Coming into August, it's not a it's not a crazy month. I distinctly remember August last year not being particularly anything to write home about. I do think the year before we had a couple of big shows on that. Well, actually, we did. We had AJ, and then we had Usyk versus Dubois in 23. AJ Usyk, obviously, in 22. So, historically, August is not a great month, and this is really no different. We don't have a great deal to look forward to, and then we have a cracking end of the year, the last couple of months, and December's not even been announced yet, but you can imagine what it's going to be like. It does have me kind of wondering, how was August going to be? Because I know me and Ade both have trips away. He's obviously doing the Riyadh show. He's there that week. I obviously got a trip coming up as well. So it's going to be a bit quieter on the scenes for, I think, everybody. But having said that, there's going to be, and there is a lot of talk about this August 16 card. And it is a good card. Me and Ade just released a video giving our early thoughts on it. And long and the short of it, Moses Itauma is favourite going into his fight with Dillian Whyte. Rightly so. Absolutely rightly so. He has the youth on his side. He is, 17 years, which is phenomenal, really. The junior of Dillian Whyte. It's phenomenal, really, when you think about it. But Dillian Whyte in recent interviews has looked in a lot better shape. You can see he's trimmed down. You can see that. And having gone and watched what a peak Dillian Whyte looked like, and obviously I'm alluding to, it's now live, the look back, episode 4 at A&G. You're going to get a lot of at A&G, man, this week. We were busy over the last couple of days. We were very busy. It's one of the reasons why I haven't uploaded as much over the last few days. We've been busy boys. But re-watching that look back and seeing Dillian Whyte against Eric Chisora, granted a much younger Dillian Whyte, he was probably 28, 29 at the time. No, he would have been about 29 years old at the time, so he's pushing 30. He was probably in the high 240s, but although Dillian Whyte has never been chiseled, you could see some definition with abs there. You could definitely see muscle there. He was younger, fresher, less miles on the clock, had been chinned by AJ, but hadn't been chinned by Povetkin, hadn't been down against Joseph Parker, hadn't been knocked out by Tyson Fury, etc., etc., etc. And looking at that fight, and again, I'm not saying we're going to get that version of Dillian Whyte. I think that version of Dillian Whyte is long gone. But it amazed me the amount of punishment he was able to take. And bear in mind, he never touched down in that fight. Chisora, many people have complimented Dave Allen, Alexander Usyk, his punching power. And for Dillian Whyte to take those clean shots, never touch down, shows he had a hell of a chin back then. And arguably, the AJ fight and the Chisora first fight, arguably, is what probably took away from that chin, to be honest with you. If we can get even somewhat close to Dillian Whyte like that, even 30-40%, if we can get some semblance of that Dillian Whyte back, and it's not just the fact that he was able to take a better shot, I don't think we can fix that now at this stage, but he was a lot more lighter on his feet. He could move around the ring a lot better. His combination punching was a hell of a lot better. All signs point to him not just being younger, but being lighter and in better shape. And if we get a Dillian Whyte who's in better shape, potentially we could have something on here. Because at the end of the day, Moses Itauma, we have a lot of questions to ask about him. And the reason why we have a lot of questions to ask about him is because no one's ever asked those questions. The guys he's been fighting, Mike Belogan's and, Dempsey McKean's Marius Wack and Over the Hill Marius Wack, they've been blasted out pretty quick. And it's good to see. It shows he has power. It shows that he just wants to go in, get the job done. But there's fundamental questions there we don't know. What happens when someone pushes him back? He's very light on his feet. He's very quick, right? But that's in the first couple of rounds. He's never been past, six rounds? What happens if someone takes him into the 8th, the 9th, the 10th, the 11th, etc., etc.? Well, the speed's not going to stay, you would imagine. And how is it going to feel when someone's pushing him back? How is it going to feel when someone's hitting him to the body, crucially to the head? Because we've heard people say and speculate that maybe he has a weak chin, and certainly his older brother, Carol Itauma, light heavyweight contender or prospect, he was chinned. He was actually chinned on Moses Itauma's pro debut, believe it or not. And would it be fair to say he's iron-jawed, Carol Itauma? No. Does it necessarily mean it runs in the family? No, not necessarily. You look at the Yafai brothers, though, they're all a little bit chinny. Even Galal. But the other two, Gamal and Kal Yafai, they're very chinny. Very, very chinny. It's not a great sign, but not every sibling is the same. You can have a sibling who could punch like a wrecking ball and couldn't take a shot. Maybe you'd have another sibling, same family, couldn't punch, couldn't crack an egg, but you hit him with your best Hail Mary shot and he's like, is that it? So you never know. But these are questions I think Dillian Whyte potentially may be able to ask Itauma. I'm not picking Dillian Whyte to win. This is not a change prediction or anything like that. But I'm looking at this fight a little bit different. Seeing what Dillian Whyte once was and wondering, could we get that back? At the end of the day, right, this is what I'm thinking about Dillian Whyte over the last couple of years. Against Tyson Fury, he got his world title shot. That was a very, very good Tyson Fury that night, a brilliant Tyson Fury that night. Completely shut Dillian Whyte down from the outside, stopped him in 6 rounds. Dillian Whyte had no game plan. Didn't really take it to Fury like I thought he would have done. That was that. Jermaine Franklin, was he really up for that fight? Possibly, possibly not. The other two, well, we know what happened there. We know what was going on in Dillian Whyte's, what do I want to say, professional life, because obviously it was affecting his career. Now he's all good to go, and now he's looking at a Moses Itauma, who he's 17 years older than, and Dillian Whyte is probably looking at Itauma like the schoolboy, coming out of school in his uniform. Yeah, I'm the new kid in the block, and Dillian Whyte is like, I'm the bully. Let's see how you deal with me. I'm looking at this fight a lot differently, people. I'm not gonna lie. I think this fight may potentially be a lot more competitive. My biggest worry for Dillian Whyte, isn't just the chin. I was looking at his box rec the other day. One opponent I could find on box rec, only one out of all the fights he's had was a southpaw, and it was I think he was Croatian, some obscure Croatian journeyman who he fought pre-AJ. So you might be talking pre-ban. Maybe it was just after the ban. I go on box rec. I think it's not long before he fought AJ, I don't think. That's the only southpaw he's ever fought. Listen, and that guy was a journeyman. I think he's retired now. A journeyman. And he'd been stopped multiple times. I can see his record, but I can't think of his name. I'd probably butcher it even if I could. That's the only southpaw he ever fought as a pro. That's not going to set you up in good stead for Itauma, probably, and it was over a decade ago. That's a big worry for Dillian Whyte. You're not going to be used to the southpaw stance. You're not going to be used to speed like that. That's my worry for Dillian Whyte going into this fight. But goddamn, if he can just set a tempo, get those straight shots going, and push Itauma back like he did Joseph Parker, because Joseph Parker was significantly faster than Dillian Whyte as well. Didn't stop Dillian Whyte from just bullying and ragdolling him. So I've got there's a lot I'm thinking about going into this fight. An awful lot. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. It has me really, I'm thinking here how Dillian Whyte could do against Itauma. A part of me is thinking he could maybe do well. I was thinking we'd get a plotter of a Dillian Whyte in here, but looking that he appears to be in very, very good shape, certainly in the face, you can see it, he's slimmed down. I'm intrigued, people, I'm intrigued. But let me know your thoughts. We could arrive fight week and he could look like, the Michelin Man come fight week, going to do the grand arrivals in Saudi. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, people, I hope you enjoyed the video. Smash the like button if you could. Hit subscribe, of course, if you haven't already. And until next time, people, I will leave it there. Peace.